have your attention, please? If everybody would take a seat, we'll begin. Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody to the 27th Annual Alumni Banquet. My name is Kathy Devins, and I'm the Executive Director of the Alumni Association, and I am a 1973 graduate of CCRS. This year we are honoring, once again, the 50-year class, the class of 1957. And at this time, I would ask the class of 1957 to please rise and be recognized. Mr. John West, from the class of 1940, will now come and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father William Gordon, pastor of Sacred Heart Church, will now lead us in the invocation.
Before I give the invocation, I have something in common with the class of 57, the 50-year class. It's my 50th as well. I want to ask all of you in the class of 57 this question: how did we get here? And how did we last this long? It's unbelievable. I cannot believe it. I graduated from St. John's Academy in 1957. We are having a reunion in August, on August 3rd and 4th, and I'm told that I have to go to the Naked Turtle the evening of August the 3rd. And I've been there before, but boy, I tell you, if you're around Plattsburgh on August 3rd, it's a Friday night, don't go to the Naked Turtle. I don't want you to see me there. Let us pray. Almighty God, we give you thanks that we can come here this evening and renew memories, to see people perhaps we have not seen in a long time, to remember teachers, the ones we liked and even the ones we didn't. We ask you to bless all of our families, bless Chazy School, bless this community, and everyone here who has given us so much. We also ask your blessing upon the food that we will share this evening. Be with us and always remain with us. Amen.
Thank you, Father. I am told that dinner is ready. We will begin with the tables with the 50-year class.
Boom! You want to dance, don't you? Thank you, George and Woman. They'll be back. He's going to come back. Yes?
I got to get back to Dickinson, all right. One day I heard him singing while I lived in Chazy. I heard him singing, I found my thrill on Blueberry Hill. About 10 minutes later, I heard his wife singing, You're cheating hard.
He knows how to get a man. Well, it's time to get going with our program. The 28th year of Alumni Association of Chazy Central Rural School, our 27th banquet. We started in 1980. All we had was the tea that year, and there was about 5 of us that got it going, and actually we didn't have really any idea how long it was going to hold and what the results were going to be, but they've been pretty good. It's great to see faces here. It's great to see the 50-year class and Uncle John and Aunt Madeline from back in 1938 and 40 with us. That's great. I want you to keep coming. My first duty is to introduce class officers. Our executive director, Kathy Munson Devens, class of 1973. And our president, Donald Bucket Trombley, cannot be with us tonight. He has a grandson in Beatmantown having graduation ceremonies. Our vice president, Jane Fulton Hess, class of 53. How are you doing? Jane has to be given credit. The last number of years at graduation and class day, as an alumnus, Jane has provided the music at Chazy Central Rural School. We thank her very much. Our secretary, Brandy Billiter Lloyd, class of 1992. Brandy is also responsible, has taken pretty much charge of the newsletter that we get every year. We thank her very much. Our treasurer, Margaret Maggie Ryan, right now should be in an airplane somewhere headed to Ireland. She and her father and mother and her brother Patrick and her husband Joey and her 3 children and Patrick's 2 children are all going to the old what do they call it, the old sod? They go back to Ireland? They're up there somewhere, headed in that direction. At this time, we would like to recognize the classes in 5-year increments up to the present day class. Anyone from 1936 to 1940, would you just please stand? Uncle John and Aunt Madeline. Aunt Madeline was 1938, Uncle John was 1940. Anyone from 41 to 45? Anyone from 45 to 50? We're going to get some results on the next one. 51 to 55. Come on, Billy boy. What a number. Thank you. 56 to 60. Pretty soon you'll be at the octogenarian table. 61 to 65. 66 to 70. 71 to 75. Kathy Devon. 76 to 80. Oh, there we are. Some of my clan in there. 81 to 85. 86 to 1990. Rob McCall. 91 to 95. Brandy Gilligan. 96 to 2000. 2001 to 2005. Okay, 2006, 2007. They will be with us in time to come. My next duty is to introduce Barbara Matot Gray, the class of 1957, to introduce the 50-year class. And she will present them with 50-year pins. Barbara?
I have my notes. But before I introduce the members of the graduating class of 1957, we would like to remember those who are no longer with us. Jean Calkins, Margaret Tom, Donna Trombley, Beverly Perry, and Esther Grimshaw. And also at this time, remember the members of our class who were not able to attend today was Eleanor Trombley, Juanita Ducharme, Barbara Bulris, Dorothy Brunel, Robert Dodds, Lawrence Beaucaire, William Dupree, Erwin Ashline, Angela Tatro, Marie Hebert, Joan Akey, Richard Dodds, Cora Sterling, and Robert Sanger. Now, the members of the class of 1957. Anne Baker Carey. She can get around, but you wouldn't know it. And you have to come up. Michael Baker, a strong, silent type. Arnold Beeman, he talks an infinite deal of nothing. Roswell Beeman, where there's life, there's hope. And I'm hoping I'm going to say this right. It's Susan Fulton Van Vranken, easygoing, cheerful, and self-reliant. James Jesse Ledoux, oh, this learning, what a thing it is. Barbara Laramie Carpenter, my brother's keeper. Robert Trombley, still water runs deep. Barbara Matot Gray, she might live through it, but she'll never be the same. At this time, before I give the pins out, we, as a class, should all thank Anne and her daughter Cindy for their dedication and hard work to help make this evening for our class possible.
Get a little closer. Yeah. Now, around. Push it.
there's a couple on the alumni committee that had the idea that they thought it was a good time to sing the school alma mater at this time. So Jane Fulton Hess, would you please come up here? Jane is going to accompany us. Now, we're going to try to outdo the senior class of yesterday in singing. So we're going to give it all we got. You can stand up, sit down, whatever you want. There are words on the table. Jane's got to put another pair of glasses on. I think you should stand. Especially the alumnus should stand. We'll do like in English school. We'll let the alumnus come in. Come on, Arnold. We're almost ready to go now. We're all going to sing this like we mean it. Give us an intro. To thee, our alma mater, our praises now we sing. Fond memories forever around thy name shall bring. Most true of all, true art thou, fair of all to see. In whom is every heart involved, our love we pledge to thee, our love we pledge to thee. Thy image there shall perish, nor fail thy noble name. Thy lesson we shall cherish, revere thy rising fame. Whate'er the road we follow, whate'er the task pursue, thy name we fain would honor. To thee and all be true. To thee and all be true. I'm having a glass of water. Well, after that rendition, you probably won't ask for it again. My next pleasure is to introduce our superintendent of CCRS, Kevin Mulligan. Now, Kevin is not a Chazy boy, but he's very, very close. He would like to be. His wife Barbara graduated from Chazy, and 3 of his children have graduated from Chazy. So he's on the borderline. Pretty soon we're going to accept him. Kevin?
I'm working on 2 grandchildren graduating from Chazy as well, but still got some moving around to do. Thank you very much for the invitation to be with you. This is I just completed my 2nd year as superintendent of schools at Chazy, and it is a true honor to be part of this company as well as part of the traditions of Chazy Central Rural School. The school that I came from was a much larger school. I graduated with a class of 850 students, and but my roots go back to upstate New York and Cayuga Lake, Union Springs. That's where my dad was a teacher, and unfortunately I got kidnapped in 3rd grade and brought down to Long Island. But I'd like to thank you for inviting me. There's a few things that I was asked to do, one of which would be to share the traditions academically of what's happened at Chazy this past school year. And I'm going to start off with a letter that I received that's dated May 15th from Commissioner Richard Mills. When you get a letter from the Commissioner of Education in New York State, you kind of open it up with shaking hands. Dear Mr. Mulligan, on behalf of the Board of Regents and the State Education Department, I write to congratulate you on your school being recognized as one of New York State's 272 Title I high-performing schools or districts in New York State. Your district has been so designated because it met all applicable state standards for English language arts, math during the 2005-2006 school year, and also made what's called adequate yearly progress in English language arts, mathematics, and science during both the 2004-2005 and 2005-2006 school years. You and your entire community are to be commended for leading New York forward to accomplish our dual goals of increasing student achievement while closing the gap in student performance. Your entire school community has earned this recognition. We at the department look forward to both learning from your achievement and supporting your continuing efforts towards even greater accomplishments. That is a credit certainly to not only the students, of course, but also the teachers and staff that have worked with them, but also probably the greatest tribute goes to the community of Chazy. That is a community school, and there aren't too many left in New York State alone, let alone Clinton County. To draw a comparison, I'd like to share with you some results of our 3 through 8 test scores. Now, you've all heard of No Child Left Behind. Testing is big, and it's a very big part of school accountability nowadays. And if you don't meet up to the standards that they set, there are punitive measures that are taken that can include taking money, state money as well as federal money away from them. There are now tests given to all students in English and math in grades 3 through 8. And the English tests are given in January. The math tests are given in March. On the ELA tests in grades 3 through 8, comparing to other schools in Clinton County, Peru, Beekmantown, Northeastern Clinton, Northern Adirondack, Plattsburgh, schools of that, Sable Valley, etc. Out of 6 classes, 6 grades, okay, 3rd grade through 8th grade, we came in number 1 in 5 of 6. And the one that we did not come in number 1, we were only 7 points away from being number 1. We did come in 3rd on the 6th grade ELA test. In the elementary totals, okay, taking a look at all the elementary grades, we came in number 1. In the junior high totals, we came in number 1 in all of Clinton County. We just recently got our math results, and again, we came in number 1 in 4 of 6 categories. And in elementary totals, we outshined the next closest school by 7 points, total points accumulated. And in the junior high, we came in 3rd. It was a distant third. First place was a tie with 164 points. We had 163 points. So pretty good results in our 3 through 8 testing. I'm glad to see Mr. McAuliffe is here, because in the regions that were just taken just a few days ago, we had 92% of our students pass the Regents exam. All 100% of our students took the Regents exams. That includes students with special needs that took the Regents and passed the Regents exams. In U.S. history, 75% of our students, 98% passed it, but 75% achieved mastery 85% or higher on the U.S. history regents. In Math A, which used to be kind of like algebra, is what it used to be called. It's going back to that, by the way. The good old days are coming back. We had, again, 98% passed Math A regents and 71% achieved mastery, 85 or better. And in French 3, 100% of the students for the second year in a row passed the French 3 regents, and 85% achieved mastery level. We also had 100% of our students that passed the physics regents. 69% of those students achieved mastery level of 85 or higher, and we had 100% pass the 8th grade Spanish proficiency test. So the results of Chazy academically, as well as athletically, and Mr. McAuliffe might be talking about that shortly, are still way up there. It is certainly a school with class and character. And in closing, I don't know if any of you saw the beautiful painting. Last year we had it displayed on the stage up here, a painting that was donated by the Donovan family in honor of David Donovan, who never graduated from Chazy but attended Chazy. He and his wife were tragically murdered a few years ago, and he had a painting of the old school that he had contracted to be painted. He had it in his home. And George Donovan, his older brother, donated that. The family donated it to the school. That is now prominently displayed in the lobby of the school. And some of our alumnus of Chazy, Mr. Dick West, and his son James West. James is really the person that was the architect behind framing this beautiful painting. And it hangs very prominently in the lobby of the school. I did bring the school keys, and if anybody did not see it last night, following this evening, if you want to go over to see this, it sits directly behind the Lincoln statue, and it's in a beautiful location in the lobby of the school. So if anybody's interested, I'll open up the school so that you can see it. There's lights that are around it, and it's very, very impressive. But I just wanted to share that with you. Thank you very much for the invitation. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Kevin. As usual, you do a great job. My next pleasure is to introduce Rob McAuliffe, class of 1990. Rob is going to give us an update on some of the past experience he's had with the terrific teams that we've had. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me tonight. Yes, I am a 1990 graduate of Chazy. I am now a teacher here at Chazy and coach soccer, boys soccer here at Chazy, and I'm blessed to have that position. I've been coaching there for quite a few years now, about 11 years, and I followed George Brendler and then Tom Tregan. I think I'm correct. I think the first soccer team, boys soccer team, was 1956, 57 was 53. Okay. And so it's been an honor coaching at Chazy and teaching there. It's a wonderful place to be. You know, I've had some great times in the last few years. We've won 2 state championships. We won a state championship in 2004 and won again a state championship in 2005. And in those years, we won 54 straight games, and all that. That was great, and some great experiences, and some moments of pride for myself and for the community and things like that. But you know, when I sit here with all of us here, all these Chazy graduates here, there's one thing that I think we all have in common, and it's that love for that little school, and that love for this community that we had such a big part of. And for me, you know, when I graduated from Chazy, I loved the place. But I was also an 18-year-old who said when I left Chazy, I never want to come back. I loved it, but I never wanted to come back. I was going to go do bigger and better things in bigger towns. And I went to college and I went to Oneonta, and I found that almost immediately I got into my dorm room and meeting all these new people from around the country, Long Island and places like that, and I found myself bragging about Chazy over and over and over again. And while other kids sat in my dorm room and talked about how much they disliked high school and disliked their teachers and disliked their school, I talked about how much I loved my school, and I talked about class day and all the traditions and customs in our school. And of course, many of them thought, I said, so this is a military school you go to? No, and I talked about Mr. Minor, and they were just taken back by it. I couldn't understand it. And to the point, I've talked about our school so much that about halfway through the year, I got the nickname Chazy. And it didn't bother me. The only thing was another Chazy graduate, Tim Martin, came a year later, and I lost the nickname Chazy, and he got it. So, but I was very proud of it, and I found myself during those couple of years at Oneonta, and I played soccer there, just realizing how much I loved this place and loved that school. And then when I graduated from Oneonta, I found myself, sure enough, back here. And I realized that I did love this place, and I didn't want to be anywhere else. And I loved this school, and I was blessed enough to get a job here. When I got that job here and started coaching soccer, and like a dream come true for me, we went on. As I said, we won a state championship. And the year that we won our first state championship in 2005, it was a great thing. And the trophy and everything, that's one thing. But there was, on those days, I think I gained so much more. Just when I thought I could love this place as much as I possibly could, I realized how special this place was. We go to the state championship game in Oneonta, again, back to Oneonta, full circle. And we're at the state championship game. There's many, many fields there, and I walk past one of the fields where one of the other state championship games is going on. There's different levels of Class A's, like the big schools, like the Comacs and then Shenandoah, that graduate almost 1,000 people a year. And I walk by this field of the state championship game going on between Shenandoah and someone else, and there was about 500 people in the stands. And I walked to our field well before the game started, and there had to be 1,500 people there. And just so many people from Chazy, and so many of them without children there. And without any connection to any of the players or myself or anybody. And to kind of skip ahead here, when I go down to the state soccer meetings in Albany, the chief financial person there always says, well, we'll do well again financially as long as Chazy keeps showing up. And that's what made it so special. We win the state championship, and all these people rush out to the field. And it wasn't 17-year-olds. It was moms and grandpas and uncles and people who had no connection. And that was a moment when I realized that we have something special here. And to be around all those people who gave my players hugs and gave me hugs, and knowing that they just cared about this place so much. Graduates who I knew graduated from Chazy, but I didn't really know their name. And then when we got back, we drove through Chazy, and of course all the people lined up on the streets and late at night, and we came back to the new soccer field we have, and a few other hundred, I don't know how many hundred people showed up at the new soccer field just to greet us coming back home. And those are the moments. It's not always the big moments. That was a big moment in the state championship, and I think the trophy is one thing. That's nice. But I think there's times where you gain more from just the what you think is the obvious. And on that day, I gained a lot more than a trophy and a state championship that I could brag about for years. I gained even more respect for this place and for the people that are in it and in the school that we have. And I think that regardless if we graduated in 1940 or 1957 or 2007, we all have something in common, whether we know each other or not. I think that bond that we have with each other of growing up in this town and going to that school, whether it was the old school or the new school, regardless of what building it was, I think there's a very special bond that we all have. And I think we have a pride in this place that I don't think we see too often. And I know I'm biased, and that's obvious. But I think there is something very special to be said. And on that day, I think I realized one last thing, and I'll finish with this, that I was very proud of my players and my boys, and I was very proud of what we had accomplished. But I think at the end of the night and days later, when I look back on it, I think I was more proud to say that I graduated from this school, and I was more proud to say that I lived in this community. And I think we can all say that, and whether we graduated 2007 or 1957, I think we're all very proud of what we have here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Rob. I just got a few notes along the sports line. Monday and Tuesday, normally on the press, there's always news clips in there about the accomplishments of different sports. And this is just kind of cute. 50 years ago, in 1957, Larry Beaucaire, member of the class of 57, and Bill Klukin got 2 hits as Chazy beat Saranac 6-4. Now this is a good one. In 1964, Andy Tebow, as most of us know from town, and Mike Stevens give Chazy a 1-0 win over Denimora. The goalkeeper was Trent Trahan. 50 years ago, in 1954, and this will kind of date some of the history of soccer. Now this is 1954, they've been playing a year. Bob Sanger, Joe Fredette, and Bob West lead Chazy over Altona in a 5-2 win. So that's pretty much documentary. Here's another good one. Well, actually, Chazy lost that game, but then it goes on to tell about the girls' game. Rhonda Trombley scored 3 goals as Chazy wins 4-1 over Northeastern Clinton in girls' soccer. And here, where is he here? I got one that we kind of forget about. Anyway, it was about Andy Chevalier from the lake, and we always go on maybe about soccer or baseball. This whole family, and there was 3 or 4 children that went to Chazy. They were all stars when they went to school in swimming. They all went on to college and competed almost semi-professionally in swimming. So that's an accomplishment that we can also add to our children from Chazy. I'd next like to introduce Kathy Devins to report on scholarships.
Last night at graduation, the Athletic Association gave out 4 $750 scholarships. And the recipients of these scholarships last night were Kenneth Boyer, son of James West, class of 1988. Caitlin Howley, daughter of Kim Neverett Howley, class of 1974. Samantha O'Hagan, daughter of Rhonda Trombley O'Hagan, class of 1977. And Jordan Spiegel, son of Staub Spiegel, class of 1978. Last night, I don't know, I know some of you were there at graduation, but there was $200,000 given out last night at graduation and awards. Now, when you consider the little small school of Chazy, that's quite a bit of money. And I think it's something that we can all be very proud of. I would also like to read to you a thank you note that we received from Kenny Boyer. And it says, "Dear Chazy alumni, I regret that I am not able to thank you in person this evening. However, I want to let you all know how much I appreciate being a recipient of the year's Alumni Association scholarship. This will be very helpful towards my school expenses. I hope you have a wonderful evening. Kenneth Boyer."
Before I ask our next speaker to come up, I just got a little something here which is interesting. It was a letter that was sent to Mr. Minor on February 16th, 1926. Now this is going to be interesting. It was sent from the superintendent or the principal of the school at that time. It was addressed to the Rookery in Chicago, Illinois. And this is part of the letter. You will be interested in learning of a new plan of choosing class colors. 4 combinations have been set aside as follows. Purple and white, which was known as royal. Red and white, which is known as cardinal. Blue and white, which is known as Yale. Yellow and white, known as rich yellow. The privilege of choosing from these is given first to the senior class. The junior class then chooses, and the remaining 3, the sophomores and the freshmen, go on down. And this is interesting because I want you to notice what color I got on. Then, when the senior class graduates, the colors will be going to the incoming freshmen. So this tradition has been going on since 1926. It goes on here to tell. The present senior class has chosen blue and white as its colors. The other classes will follow in line. So I feel pretty proud to wear the blue and white. They were the first colors chosen in 1926. I think that's pretty good. My next pleasure is to ask Richard Matat, the class of 1961, to please come up. Richard is going to present our Alumni Service Award.
I was going to ask you where it was. Thank you, Richard.
Yes, Richard.
My name is Dick Matat. This is kind of difficult to come after Rob McCullough here. Graduate, Chazy, 1961. There are 3 generations of our family that graduated. My sister, 57. My father, 1928. And our 3 youngsters, but I can't remember the year they graduated. Tell me mine.
They graduated from Chazy.
Okay. Anyway, the last time I was at one of these events was at our 25th anniversary, or 25th reunion. And I took notice at that time of all the senior citizens that were there. And this being our 46th reunion, I noticed that all there are here is just young people like me. So I know where all the old folks went. I've been asked to give the Alumni Service Award. The Alumni Service Award goes to a deserving alumnus who has done some outstanding service either to the school, to the Alumni Association, or to the community. And in this particular case, we're recognizing someone who has given outstanding service to our community. I've known this particular individual for some period of time. In fact, back in grade school, I can remember going to his house and looking at or drooling over his model train setup. He wouldn't let me touch it, but I could look at it. And I'm sure that I'll probably give it away here, that about half the people here have eaten a slice of his mother's pie. So that may give it away. Anyway, in a small community, a rural community, the fire service, volunteer fire service, EMS service, is an extremely important part of any community. I think everybody would agree to that. It also serves some social good for the community. This particular recipient has a long family history of being part of that fire service. His father served before him, and his son is presently an active member. Our recipient has given outstanding service to the fire department for 48 years. Been a fire commissioner for 21, and chairman of the Board of Fire Commissioners for 7 years. I also serve on the Board of Fire Commissioners, and I can vouch for the fact of the extra time that he spends putting the meetings together and seeing to it the training is done, seeing to it that things are done properly with taxpayers' money. Anyhow, it's my pleasure to award this 2007 Chazy Central Rural School Alumni Service Award to Richard Carpenter, class of 1961, for his outstanding service to the community.
Richard says I'm forced to say something, but it's not going to be very long. They seem to express all of my service with the fire service, but let me tell you one thing. If there was anybody in town yesterday afternoon, you see there's more than one person or a few people that make the fire department operate. We had a structure fire yesterday afternoon about 4 o'clock, and I think there was about maybe 50 or 60 firemen there, and that's what the fire service is all about, is volunteerism. So if you've got young people, encourage them to join the fire service and EMS. We are hurting for help. I don't know what else to say. I'm impressed, really surprised. This is the first Alumni Association banquet I ever attend, and they go and do this to me. So, thank you very much, Alumni Association.
Well, you keep doing good things, Richard. We'll see what we'll do for you in another few years. My next pleasure is to ask Kathy Devins to come up, and she is going to present the Alumnus of the Year.
Throughout childhood, our Alumnus of the Year was always a very active and sociable child who showed consistent enthusiasm for athletic activities. Prior to being introduced to soccer, he was a participant in youth hockey for several years. Eventually, in the latter part of his childhood and early teen years, he became very taken with the sport of soccer and joined the Chazy soccer team. During his participation in hockey and soccer, he always stood out as both a leader and team player. He set high standards for himself and was determined to meet such standards. One major accomplishment during the summer of 1989 was his participation in the competitive Empire State Games. Our Alumnus of the Year graduated from CCRS in 1990. Attended Mohawk Community College for 2 years, and played college soccer, serving as team captain during the second year. He was named Athlete of the Year by the Utica Kiwanis Club and was also recognized in Who's Who in American junior colleges. In fall of 1992, he continued his collegiate studies in athletics at Oneonta University, gaining a place on Oneonta's Division I soccer team, and played until he graduated with his bachelor's degree. After obtaining his bachelor's degree, he went on to Plattsburgh State to pursue his master's degree in education and is currently a member of the CCRS faculty. From 1995 to 1997, he served as assistant soccer coach to Tom Tregan at CCRS and became head coach of the CCRS boys varsity soccer team in 1997. He led the boys varsity soccer team to the state Final Four games in the years of 1997, 1999, 2000, 2002, 2003, 2004, and 2005, and captured the ultimate goal of winning the New York State Class D State Soccer Championship in 2004 and 2005. During his long streak of soccer success, he managed to find time to get married, and in September of 2003, he married Kristen Dubray, another CCRS alumnus, class of 1998. Approximately 2 years later, on November 23, 2005, he and Kristen welcomed their first child, Ava Ray McCullough. He and his family currently reside in the village of Chazy and have every intention of staying in this special community and giving their child the gift of being CCRS students and eventually alumni. It gives me great pleasure to present to you Chazy Central Rural School's Alumnus of the Year, Robert McCullough.
I've already taken up enough of your time as it is, but I do thank you very much. I think I've already expressed many times about how special this place is to me, and it is a great honor, and I thank you for it, and I thank the Alumni Association for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. We're going to have our closing remarks in just a second, but I just want to read a little article that was given to me by my good friend Bob Cheeseman, and it really affects a lot of people here, especially the end of it. It says, every 10 years as summertime nears, an announcement arrives in the mail. A reunion is planned, it'll be real grand, make plans to attend without fail. I'll never forget the first time we met. We tried so hard to impress. We drove fancy cars, smoked big cigars, and wore our most elegant dress. It was quite an affair, the whole class was there. It was held at a fancy hotel. We wined and we dined and we acted refined, and everyone thought it was swell. The men all conversed about who had been first to achieve great fortune and fame, while their spouses described their fine houses and how beautiful their children became. The homecoming queen, who once had been lean, now weighed in at 196. The jocks who had lost all their hair and cheerleaders could no longer do kicks. No one had heard about the class nerd who guided the spacecraft to the moon, or poor little Jane, who always been plain, she married a shipping tycoon. The boy we decreed most apt to succeed was serving 10 years in the pen, while the one voted least now was a priest. Just shows how wrong you are now and then. You ought to read this at your 50th, fellas. Two of you. They awarded a prize to one of the guys who seemed to have aged the least. Another was given to grad who was driven the farthest to attend the feast. They took a class picture, a curious mixture of beehives, crew cuts, and white ties. Tall, short, or skinny, the style was minted. You never saw so many thighs. At our next get-together, no one cared whether they impressed their classmates or not. The mood was informal, a whole lot more normal. By this time, they'd all gone to pot. It was held out of doors on the lake shores, weighed hamburgers, coleslaw, and beans. Then most of us lay around in the shade in our comfortable t-shirts and jeans. By the 40th year, it was abundantly clear. We were definitely over the hill. Those who weren't dead had to crawl out of bed and be home in time for their pill. Getting close to home on some, isn't it? And now I can't wait. They've set the date. Our 50th is coming, I'm told. It should be a ball. They rented a hall at the Shady Rest Home for the Old. Repairs have been made on my hearing aid. My pacemaker's been turned up on high. My wheelchair is oiled. My teeth have been boiled. And I bought a new wig and glass eye. I feel quite hearty. I'm ready to party. I'm going to dance till dawn's early light. It'll be lots of fun, but I just hope there's another person who can make it that night. like to ask Brandy Billiter-Lloyd to come up and give us closing remarks.
Again, we'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight. It's been a privilege for the Alumni Association of CCRS to honor the class of 1957. We start meeting and planning this event in February. We meet usually on Thursdays for about an hour, 4 or 5 times between February and June, making sure everything is in place for the newsletter, the alumni tea, the alumni scholarships, and the banquet. The Alumni Association is a well-oiled machine, if you will. We all try to share the responsibilities, but we can always use more gears to help, to ensure that this machine continues to chug along for years to come. The meetings are fun. The members are a great group of people. And and overall there's about an hour's view of time involved. And it's very rewarding. If you'd like to join, we'd love to have you. You can talk to Mrs. Devens or Mr. West or give them a call later. Again, we start meetings in February. And it would be great to see some new faces in February. I'd like to say a few thanks to people who have helped us to honor the class of 57. This person lives by her class motto, where there's a will, there's a way. She's also the newest member through the Alumni Association. Ann Baker Carey was the class representative this year, and she did an amazing job. Not only did she provide information needed about the class, but she attended every meeting, and she even helped us set up for the banquet. It was a pleasure to work with you. Thanks. Also, thanks to Jane Hess for chairing the alumni tea. Thanks to Amanda Palmer and the Alice T. Minor Board of Directors for hosting the tea at the museum this year. Thank you to this year's greeters of the tea, Rebecca Beeman and Eric Ashline. They are both of the class of 2005. Also thanks to Jerry Dino of Guma's Restaurant. He was our caterer this evening. And finally, thanks to George Schnaub and Wilbur Carnes for providing tonight's music. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brandy. George, you're on call. As usual, it seems kind of hard. You go to public events, and they're all kind of shy about saying a prayer or asking the good Lord to help us. There's a song, God Bless America, which comes as close to a prayer as any music can be. It was made public actually in 1938 on Armistice Day by a great gal, Kate Smith. Now, you got to be Father's generation and mine and Uncle John and Aunt Madeline's to really remember Kate Smith. She'd really do justice to this. So if we could all please stand, as our final note, we are all going to sing God Bless America. There were some words in the first verse, and it started out, while storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us swear allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair, as we raise our voices in a common prayer. Now you don't have to run away. Sit around and talk. George is going to provide music. So stick around.